That's right. Welcome, welcome. The Campfire has finally started back up. I'm your host, indie wrestler based in the Arklatex, Louisiana, Texas, all over the place. Cowboy Cliff Rogers. Welcome back to Cliff's Kayfabe Campfire. It's been a while. Yeah, I took a little season's break there. You know, it was only supposed to last a few weeks, and snowballs on me. Happens, but we're back, and this time better than ever, hopefully. And I'm my guest slash co-host today, my man, the Gatekeeper, training partner of mine, classmate, and fellow wrestler. We also travel together. Available for bookings as a tag team. Wink, wink. Keep, what's up, man?
Oh, not much.
Dude, so what's the deal? Why are you calling in? I mean, what do you do all the day when you're not training? I mean, why couldn't you come over here and meet us at the Barn Studio? Why are we on the phone?
Not many people know this because I keep everything kind of personal to myself, but I happen to be a dad too, as scary as that sounds to people, and that's what I'm doing is pick up my son.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Somebody did let you reproduce with them. Well, that's cool. Yeah, PF. We call him PF for picket fence. Yeah, that's what we, gatekeeper, picket fence. It's pretty cheesy. Yes, we know, folks. It's pretty dumb. But, hey, he loves it, little PF. How old is he now?
He'll be 10 in September.
Oh, man, he ain't even in the double digits yet, man. Well, look, listeners, let me tell y'all, this little fella here loves him some wrestling, and his favorite wrestling is indie stuff, man. I mean, you can ask his daddy over here. When he gets on y'all's devices and stuff, and what kid doesn't watch AEW and WWE and stuff? But I mean, like, he watches the CZW. He watches all these random feds all over the place. I think it's great that, like, kids are getting into the indie stuff, and this was like before his dad was an indie wrestler, so, there's no bias in there. I know what y'all are thinking.
No, he's just like me. He's always been a big professional wrestling fan, and he didn't have to be mainstream. I just find, just like him, I would find stuff, and that's how I knew. I don't want to sound like a hipster or a mark, whatever you want to call him, but that's really cool because I got to know CM Punk, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn before they were, WWE and AJ Styles. I think everybody kind of knew him. He made a big name for himself out of all of them in TNA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was always cool to see. Growing up as kids, watching. Like you didn't really know it at the time. You could just tell that, like, TNA Impact and then WWE Raw and SmackDown and stuff, one was clearly bigger and bolder than the other. That being WWE. One was clearly, like, bigger, but the other one had, like, all the big names, so, like, it appeared just as big. But then, like, when those legends and stuff started leaving, like Booker and Kurt and all that, well, then you started seeing that, like, yeah, one. But what I'm getting at is that's kind of like a early days version of, like, the NXT system they got at WWE now, right? Like, now you got NXT 2.0, which is kind of like your smaller version of the TV stuff. Well, hey, when we were coming up, early 2000s, mid 2000s and stuff, TNA on Spike TV, that was the smaller, it was at Universal Studios, which, if I had to guess, the Impact Zone is probably similar in size to the Performance Center area, little venue where they do all the NXT stuff, So, I mean, it was just much different. You didn't have streaming and stuff back then, but we kind of got to watch these guys make it in a time where it was harder to make it. I mean, you couldn't just go to the PC and try out and all that. I mean, there was no direct door in. You had to find you a little rat hole in,
Yeah, that was a time when, wrestling is coming back, but that was a time when wrestling, it was kind of so-so. You didn't have a lot of people like we're fortunate to be in the scene that we're in right now because indie wrestling is getting so huge, and especially right here, in the Sinlaw areas where it's been dead for years.
Yeah, folks, we've talked on earlier episodes of different guests and stuff. In the area where me and Gatekeeper started, Alexandria is pretty much like the biggest notable city around where we started. It's really a little small place called Holloway, which is where our coach, Dapper Dan, has the training facility for right now. But it's basically right there with Pineville, Alexander, those letters. Well, in that little central Louisiana region, there hadn't been indies or anything like that since like the 90s, man. Like, yeah, mid 90s. There was the WWE house show tour, and then they quickly just quit coming around here after so long. I guess budget cuts and all that. They only go to the big ones like the MSG house show and stuff now. They just do far less of them. But other than the big names coming through, no, there was no indies or nothing like that until us. Well, about 2 years ago, right? So, yeah, kind of a lot of pressure, dude. You know, you're pulling something out of the bag that hadn't been pulled out of the bag in forever, and you're just hoping they take to it. You know, I mean that's a bold move for anybody. You know, for all you fellow indie wrestlers out there that are probably in an area that doesn't have a lot of it. Hey, it's anybody can really get over, especially if you're playing the right gimmick. Anybody can really get over in a wrestle country, you know, depending on the crowd, of course. But it's hard when the people there aren't really interested. They're just there because it's something to do, and they're like, oh, it's this kind of stuff. Oh, I mean, yeah, you really got to try to win them over. Then they don't even know what they're watching. Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, we've been to places like that thus far. And it is, and then usually I'm the one that gets stuck on the first match, and even the first one out of the curtain, which is even worse than that.
Man, tell us about because I was there in the back with you. There's a little promotion in Arkansas, Hope, Arkansas, the birthplace of Bill Clinton. Yeah, It's pretty cool. That's about the town's only notability. It's small. It's a nice little town. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but I mean, you can almost throw a rock through it. All right, it ain't that big. But I like that. What were you saying?
Yeah, you can throw a rock through it and then almost hit Texarkana.
Yeah. Texarkana's about 30 minutes out. Depending on how you go. But there's a little federation there called New Hope Extreme Wrestling, NHEW, and we both kind of got over there, at least with the promoters. Fans like they used to draw a pretty good bit of people, and then they ended up getting a permanent little venue that they just rent out long term. It used to be a bar, so literally wrestling in a bar, Attitude Era vibes, baby. And it's small, but it's fun, and it's definitely good for guys like us, young in the business. You got to get your reps in. You got to work people. It might only be 10 people there, but work them. And if they're into it, work them. If they're not into it, keep working them. If you can get over in front of 10 people, you can probably do it easily in front of
But I'll say it like this: I'd rather have 20 lively, loud, rowdy people that's really into it than 200 people that's just sitting there with their hands in their pockets.
That being said, tell us about your first singles match at NHEW and that crowd response because you were the first rattle out of the box, and we had some they had some tech problems, I should say, with the music and all that. Delays, no announcing. There was no like from Kingsland, Texas, nothing like that. It was just your music played, and there you went. Tell us what that was like, being in front of a large, cold crowd.
Oh my God! Well, it's just like I was nervous. It's my first time over there. Y'all been over there like a time or two before. Then they played my music. I'm sitting behind the curtain, which I could not figure out how to get through.
It was stage curtains, man, like high school theater, like the big, huge, heavy red ones. And they were double lap. Yeah, none of us. And it sucks being the first guy out, Keith. I mean, you figured that out first, man, but like you had to be the guinea pig because we didn't have problems after watching you struggle.
Yeah, no one could have done worse than me. You don't want to watch the guy that's fighting the curtain to get out and walk out.
It was just, dude, it's awesome. Like that was.
Like inside, I was a little bit embarrassed, but I was kind of more pissed and aggravated because I was like, "You're kidding, right? This is the first thing that happens." But then I walk out to the crowd, and I guess they haven't seen me before, probably never heard of me, and they're trying to figure me out and see what I'm about. And I know they probably didn't notice. Well, he's kind of an asshole. And then, like, this Silver Bullet guy comes out like a luchador. I think all he brought was his mask and maybe some training gear that he made. Like, he looked like he borrowed some of it and maybe just found some of it in his closet, just put it in his bag.
I mean, I saw that guy. I mean, it looked like he was just kind of maybe working a side gimmick or something like that. He has his mask on, for a lot of it. He was really in and out. I mean, if I had to guess, that cat was probably like on the way to a show or coming back from one or something like that. Maybe just picking up a little side hustle.
Had to be.
But
I didn't get to see it at all.
I mean, he could work. The dude could work.
Yeah, I mean, he was fine in the ring, and it's really good because, like I say, I didn't get to speak a word to him until we went out there, and there really wasn't that much talking going on. It was kind of like, even though I've never really faced a luchador before, it was kind of like I could read him pretty good, which, muscle memory, as well as I do, that comes into play a lot.
Oh, and also, folks, just for clarity, all you big wrestling connoisseurs and fellow wrestlers, we know just a person in a mask does not make one a luchador. The Silver Bullet guy, a masked wrestler, if you will, because he didn't work the lucha style. He worked the American style, You grab the left forearm for the Irish whips, you throw, you pretty much anytime you target a body part or go at, like, hook a leg or hook something, you always hook that left one or their left one. In the American style, luchas do everything backwards. It'll really throw you for a loop in there if you've never worked a true luchador. But, this cat here, I heard him say his real name. I just don't remember it. But this cat here basically worked an American style. I don't know if he was doing that for you or if that's just how he works. But, I mean, it's a good little match. But moral of the story, Keep's out there, and the crowd's just like, crick, 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 crick. And there's nothing on Keep. I mean, you were working heel, and you're doing a good job of it, going out there like the badass Texas outlaw that you need to be. And you see, a lot of these people, first match, they're just kind of like, all right, what you got? Impress me. They're not just going to, you kind of got to work it. And part of that is lack of an MC. Wrestling shows need a good announcer or MC to be like, come on, everybody, are you ready? Kind of get them stirred up, Lack of that probably played into it. But we're in the back and we hear, and so the booker over there, Craig, I can't think of his last name here. I'm going to pull him up here. But anyways, old Craig, he was trained by Killer Tim Brooks, old school legend. Dude knows what he's talking about. Anyways, he goes, oh, that's not good. He says, it's bad when it's quiet and all you hear is a Coke over there. And I'm like, Keep, you need to work them. And you just kind of pulled a Raven, and I don't blame you. You couldn't think of nothing to do. You just sat there like Raven in the corner scowling. I'm like, well, that's about all, Then the reason it took so long was they couldn't find the dude's music. So they end up playing Skid Row. Probably, if I'm willing to bet, that may not have even been his music, but it worked, But he come out to Youth Gone Wild, and I'm like, okay, this. I mean, hey, that's making me excited. I guess we're saving it. And then y'all put on a good match. So there you go.
Yeah, he looked like he was having a good time either way, though. He was a pretty solid dude. Like, that's probably the first and last time I've seen him. But maybe he'll come around again. Maybe I can get some little info out of him.
You didn't stiff the poor guy, did you?
No, I did not. He didn't do anything to me. He didn't deserve all that. So.
I mean, I know, Keep, you never do it intentionally, but Keep, it can be what we call a tater in the wrestling business. Doesn't do it intentionally. And look, I'm guilty as charged. We're two taters in a sack right now because I've been known to kind of, lay it in there a little. But, you got to make it look real. Sometimes when you get called out for your punches looking like crap, and then all right, well, here, maybe let me try it this way. Pfft, hey, bro, ease up. Which is it? Sometimes you just got to lay it in anyway, right?
Yeah.
Man, tell us about some of the best striking moments you've had in the ring. It doesn't just have to be with UWE guys, but like just some of the best just throwdowns, just punch chop fest you've had.
Well, I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna start it off with the obvious. I'm gonna kiss your ass for a minute.
Oh God.
the match that we had at Reed, that's probably my favorite one by far.
Wrestling for Wreaths. It was a UWE show, United Wrestling Entertainment. Look us up on Facebook and YouTube. You can find that match on YouTube now. Cowboy Cliff Rogers versus Gatekeeper. That's back when, we didn't like each other. We were quite dysfunctional sometimes. Everything's great right now, but, I don't know. He might do something piss me off later. It might happen. But
Well, I won't do that with Brandon Iron.
Yeah, he stole my dad, young Brandon Iron, during the show, during a freaking interview I was doing at the show. But anyway, this was our biggest show so far. About 1,000 people there. We did it all for Wreaths Across America, donated wreaths for the veteran graves. We've talked about it in previous episodes and all that. But, man, that was our first time ever working together. And, son, we just straight Samoa Joe'd, let's see, was it Suzuki and Joe for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship on that episode of AEW last year, when they just, 90% of it was chops. We kind of did homage to that, and pow, 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 and just got, I was laying mine in. I was tatering those things and just getting that smack. And I don't think you could keep up with that one, buddy.
No, I did not. And I may have deserved it for that. I mean, I did give you a pretty hard punch without meaning to against the ropes. So.
Oh no, I think you meant to. It was. It was definitely a fun little exchange for sure. I do remember that one.
Let's see, I would say you. I had a pretty good bout with Dapper Dan. Maybe I'm just one of them kind of people. I just love the fact that I took a Dapper Tapper and sold it.
Ain't nothing wrong with marking out over, a cool move, that you took. I mean, in fact, it's a good credit to your work, as long as you don't mark out in front of people. Don't be one of those guys. Private marking's okay. Like, oh, man, I took that move, But, it's a good credit to your work, that sometimes a move's only as good as the person selling it, Actually, that's a lot of the time. Old Dapper Dan used that tapper, big, huge uppercut with theatrics. I remember you taking that too, man. I mean, you sold it well. It looked like you come up off the ground like Rocky IV or something.
Yeah, as bad as my legs were, I tried to give a good pump to it. I just kind of went back like he was Mike Tyson or something, just knocked me out.
Man, Keep, you've really started to adopt your own kind of of this modern homage to Terry Funk and all them, not just with the obvious, with the weapons and stuff. By the way, is your latest match with Punk Sinister? Punk Sinister, also a UWE trainee, former trainee, graduate, They did a match at New Hope Extreme Wrestling in Hope, Arkansas. It was a hardcore match. Man, that was a good one. Is that on YouTube? You got that up?
It is. It's on YouTube.
Y'all search that, man. Gatekeeper versus Punk Sinister, hardcore. Y'all have actually wrestled before at a UWE show, so you're going to see a few matches with those two involved. But the hardcore one in the bar, and there was thumbtacks and everything involved in that one, man. But other than just the weapons and stuff, you're kind of bringing back kind of that classic Texas strong style, if you will. Heavy, hard shots. Rough and ugly holds, working the hole, but not quite as pretty and finesse, more like a, come here, ball, and it really works for you. Other than just Terry Funk, I mean, kind of what was your thoughts of process and your inspiration in choosing your style, bro?
Well, I mean, like you said, Funk wasn't obvious, but if I was going to say who I watched a lot of, Stan Henson being one of them.
Oh yeah.
That's actually who I watched. Between him and Bradshaw, that's who I watched to kind of nail my clotheslines. Because now I'm getting the gist of, putting the force into it, but not trying to, kill nobody in the process. Just the form and the ugly form of it. And, I watched a lot of Dusty Rhodes. If you do watch me and you see my matches and you see me wind my fist up, that's where I got that from. And coming from two veterans, Dapper Dan and Prince Fontenot, they did talk to me about my style, and and James Beard himself told me to keep up the Dusty Rhodes, the winding fist. Everything I'm doing, just keep doing it, and then just keep working on it.
And it's great how you're not just straight up stealing Dusty stuff. I hate it when I see indie guys out there that and I've borrowed moves from big names before, but only in like special situations and stuff like that, or if I'm working a guy that's got years on me that's considered a vet. Like if he's been in 5-6 years and he calls for me to do something, well then you oblige and do it as long as it's not as long as it's within reason. But I hate it when indie guys, some of them get out there and they just copy and paste finishes and like I've seen guys just like they'll be doing like a universal spot, just like a shoulder tackle, step over, leapfrog. And instead of just a hip toss or something, they turn around and give them a big spear or a stunner or a code breaker. And I'm like, what are y'all doing, man? Like, is your move set just WWE 2K? Like, make a move set? Like, is that
yeah.
So, like, I like how you don't just copy and paste Dusty Rhodes. You got to do the American Dream, baby. The fist twirl. You got to do that. But, you don't do Dusty's little dance moves with it, You do some gatekeeper stuff.
Yeah, that's and that's what I try to steer away from. As much as inspired as I am by all these guys, all these legends, I don't want no one going, well, he's trying to be Dusty Rhodes, he's trying to be Stone Cold, he's trying to be Terry Funk, and I'm not trying to, but they have like just a really heavy influence on my character and on my style, and all overall.
Yeah, kind of same with me and Hangman Adam Page was kind of the inspiration, I guess, for revitalizing me and wanting to fully embrace the whole cowboy thing. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, even though I do the ranch thing, I've worked with cows and stuff off and on my whole life, and I've lived the ranch life here and there. I didn't really just want to. I didn't just think like, yeah, it's going to be my gimmick because the market's flooded with them. It's a lot of them. And to me, it was kind of cookie cutter at first, and then I watched a little AEW when it first come out, and I saw that Hangman was a cowboy, but he was like, not in your face, generic. Here's my cowboy hat, here's my bandana around my neck, here's my chaps or whatever, And there you have it. Your WWE 2K create a wrestler cowboy. Like, no, he wasn't that. He just kind of really breathed. And I was like, that is fresh. That's different. Okay. And then I watched him wrestle, and he didn't wrestle like a Von Erich. He didn't wrestle like Stan Hansen, like Bob Orton. Wrestled like Adam Page, like you could have slapped another gimmick on him and it would have worked. But there was still a little flair, a little influence, with his taunts and all that to still kind of bring some, and then of course the names of his moves and stuff. But then I saw that, like, okay, there's people out there doing it differently. I'm thinking, like, man, if I were ever a wrestler, I'd probably do it like that. Not like that, but I would kind of try to find something a little different with it. And lo and behold, the day came and became a pro wrestler, and then tried some abstract ideas, and then at the end of the day, I just decided, let's go ahead and stick with these basics first, and then find your own. The creative process works better when you kind of start basic and then start expanding from there instead of just trying to start off with something new and different, or at least that's how it is with me.
Yeah.
So, Keep, this weekend, buddy, WrestleMania, it's here. What you got, man? Who your picks? What are you thinking?
Oh, man, I have so many, no pun intended, theories. Because I was fixing to start with the Austin Theory versus John Cena. I don't think John Cena's going to walk away.
I don't see it happening either. I really don't.
But I think this is going to be somewhat, though he's burned him so bad in the past couple of weeks, I think he's getting ready to pass the torch in a way.
Yeah. Well, it's I kind of seen that happening with Cena here and there. I think maybe he's tried to pass it before or something. Like the whole thing with Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania a few years ago, the whole crazy one when like the world was shut down, the COVID apocalypse mania, when that one happened, and they did the Funhouse match or whatever, Firefly Funhouse match. That's right. I thought that was what that was, because when he went away in the little skit they did when he like was banished or whatever, he really did, like, he went full blown Hollywood. He went full blown Dwayne Johnson on us, and now he's everywhere. He's doing voiceovers for commercials and everything. He's got a great voice. I mean, he's like a more jacked, actually athletic John Hamm. I mean, John Hamm might be athletic. I don't know, but like this is like a John Hamm athlete. I mean, he reminds me a lot of John Hamm. That's what I'm saying. Good move, but like I thought that's what that was. So maybe that could be him passing the torch on to Theory. But my thing is, like, he's Big Match John, dude. If you're gonna put a belt on him, he's got to stick around to the next big event, right?
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you, if you were making Hollywood money but loved wrestling just that much, I mean, would you put a lot of stuff on ice? Which Hollywood, I hear, is one of those things where you got to strike while it's hot. You can't, unless you're somebody like Matthew McConaughey, you can't just like step away and come back easily, right? I mean, would you put it on hold after the gravy train really starts rolling to go hold the belt for a while, not even the main one, and then come back?
I think I would have. People out there probably think I'm bullshitting, but I would stick with wrestling.
Well, a lot of people do. There's plenty of big name wrestlers out there that have done little bit parts and stuff, but like they never really latched on. Maybe they tried and failed. Maybe they're kind of like me. Kind of like how me and you were talking right now, and we're just like, no, I'm a wrestler. No, thank you. But yeah, I'll come be bodyguard number 3 and John Wick 4, sure.
Oh yeah, something like that. But I wouldn't just go, and I just wouldn't leave Hollywood. And I mean, I'd leave wrestling to go to Hollywood just because I'm not a big fan of Hollywood, and and I love professional wrestling. I have a passion for this business.
I don't know, man. I've seen him. Call him money hungry if you want, but I mean, like, the guy is making some big moves. Anybody that ever watched a little bit of Total Bellas and Total Divas, I totally watched it simply because this was kind of before this huge influx of like reality show type podcast, things going on the WWE Network. WWE Network was still quite young. That was kind of your little window into behind Kayfabe back then, in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. That was like your peak in. I didn't watch it necessarily for the girl drama and stuff. I mainly was like, oh, cool, that's such and such and such and such. And, oh, John Cena, yeah, that's right, because they're together. Oh, so this is what Daniel Bryan's like when they're in the airport. Cool, like that was like your peak in, So like anybody that ever, what's that?
Now, like, we're talking about John Cena, and if I was like, like The Rock too, I guess. When you've done so much and you've accomplished so much in wrestling, and then you got Hollywood calling you, I guess in their positions it's almost easy, because it's like, well, I've won the championship 12 times, and I've won a Royal Rumble, I've won all these tournaments, and this and that and the other, and it's just kind of like, well, I might as well go to Hollywood. I've done, set all my goals and accomplished so much over here.
Well, it's also one of those things where when guys like The Rock, and then before The Rock you had Hogan, even though Hogan's movies were not that good, I mean, hey, I like them for just like the cheesy 80s action, just,
No Holds Barred, Perfect Commando is my shit.
Yeah, I like them, but I'm saying they're not like, they're not going to win no big awards or nothing.
They're not going to win no
But like you had Hogan, you had Rock. So like when those guys have made sacrifice and worked hard and proved it can be done and opened doors, it could almost, I mean, to me, if it were me, if I was The Rock, that'd be cool. If I was The Rock, it would almost be disrespectful if, like, dude, I worked hard to change the future for you guys, and you're not even going to try it. You're not even going to try to advance your career, advance yourself after I've opened these doors, and so like, yeah, you almost owe it to yourself to, like, so like, and like now it's on that next generation to make it to where you're not just another wrestler or actor, former wrestler. How can you do it differently and stuff? But yeah, Cena and Theory, that's definitely going to be good though. Theory, he kind of strikes me as, definitely, I think he's a douche. Sometimes I just want to donkey kick him right in the face, but I mean, he's doing his job good, right? I mean, dude's a hell of a heel. To me, it's almost like one of those things where, like, he was handpicked by the boss man to, like, this is going to be our next guy, and I'm willing to bet there's some real life truth to that. I don't think it's just a bit, like an angle. And I think
they say stuff way too much about it.
Yeah. I think that when that happens, the guy never really succeeds, right? Like, you have to make a way. Like, look at Drew McIntyre the first time, right?
Yeah. Yes.
He was
talk about the came a long way.
Right. He was Vince's golden boy. He kind of fizzled out quick, right? And then he worked his ass off on the indies. Shout out to guys like us. Could you imagine working an indie show and he's there? Like, that'd be cool.
That'd be badass.
I mean, we've met plenty of guys with big names, big connections, and all that, So, but like, it would just kind of be like a mind blow. But anyways, he came back and made a way to the WWE Championship, made them recognize him, So I feel like Theory, I think he's got the body, he's got the moves, he's got the gimmick going, I just think, it's kind of like a bad omen, to be the golden boy. Never seems to pan out just right all the time, right?
It all. That's what kind of scares me for Theory. But maybe with him facing John Cena here, at WrestleMania over the United States title, the first title Cena won in WWE, and I think maybe there's some good attached to it. Maybe there's some hope for
that. Now moving on, let's see. Let's just go ahead and talk about the big one. Let's get the elephant out of the room. Cody and Roman. Who you got?
I got Cody, but I think as far as the bloodline and Roman Reigns go, they got something up their sleeve. Yeah,
first of all, every fan's been talking about him here recently and all that. Some people just see him as just a big stable that's maybe been on top too long. Some people feel, but I will say that is long-term storytelling at its finest. That story has evolved and changed so much. It's revitalized itself. It's kept itself interesting. Like that was, that's what wrestling should be long-term wise. If you're going to do it, on a big scale.
I had somebody look at me weird the other day, but I know how people are comparing stuff, but I compared the Bloodline. I haven't really seen a strong faction like the Bloodline that is just ruthless, and they do whatever it takes to keep the gold around their waist and keep it inside the Bloodline. And Evolution was like that.
Yeah, they were. But Evolution, how long did they last? Was it 3 years like Bloodline?
2 or 3 years. I don't think they lasted as just about as long, but not quite.
And yeah, because but for a while, like that iconic pose, man. All them guys with them nice $high suits on, they got those belts hanging high, but and they're toasting like champagne glasses, but with the belts, they all got one. I was like, man, that's just iconic, right? How could you not love that picture? Nate with the Intercontinental. I think Triple H had the was it the WWE, and then Randy and Batista had the tag titles or something like that. Well, I know that Randy was like the youngest heavyweight champion, and then that kind of ended. That broke him off, but or at least cut him out of it. But he had one of them, and then Triple H, I think, had the heavyweight title at the time that picture was taken. I got to look that up for clarification. But yeah, I love that iconic pick like that, and you know, there's plenty of good iconic shots of Roman through this big reign. You know, him with both belts. He started off with the one, he unifies them, you know, and WWE unifies and splits up the belts. You can almost kind of call it now when they're going to do it. It's like every couple of years. And so it's cool to, like, your title reign has lasted through that whole time span of it being unified and split up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I say, I compared it, and, you know, we just haven't had that in a long time, especially with all these groups, because it seems like they're bad to just throw people together as a team or as a little group, and they may last, you know, a month, they may last a year, or, you know, they just get rid of them. It's kind of like the Hurt Business.
Yeah, and man, that was such a cool group too, man.
That could have been something too.
I hate how that one just slipped right through the cracks. I mean, like, yeah, they split them up, cool, fine. They, like, the whole thing with Cedric and Shelton, you know, and it's classic, just, well, biatch heel stuff, man. With Cedric, he beat Shelton Benjamin 2 weeks in a row on Raw, but he did it dirty both times, the thumb to the eye. So it was like, did he really lose? No. But unlike, I don't think there was ever really like a big payoff for Shelton. You know,
no,
you had the sympathy. They didn't give him the payoff, and then a few weeks later, they're just, hey, I mean, we're cool again, and we're back with Bobby Lashley again. Yeah, all that beautiful stuff MVP said weeks ago about how, like, you know, Bobby Lashley don't need you losers anymore, or something along those lines. Yeah, it's relevant now. We're back. You know, they just brought him back, and I was like, "What have y'all done, dude?" Like, no, but that was a cool faction. You know, that was kind of like the all black evolution, kind of. And it just coincidentally, that's what it was. I'm not saying it was meant to be making a statement about that or anything. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not saying it was. It was just coincidentally, if you look at it, it was just like an all African American evolution or something, which was cool. You know, MVP was that veteran guy. You know, Bobby was like the Triple H. You know, he's the leader of it. Then you have the young lion in Cedric Alexander. You have like your enforcer veteran. Well, Batista wasn't really a veteran back then. He was more of the enforcer. I guess you could put that on Shelton. You know, the dangerous weapon. That was pretty much what that was, and it worked. I mean, like you say, that could have been a Hall of Fame caliber stable. Like, I'm sure the Bloodline's going to end up being put in one day.
Definitely.
Even the honorary Oos, huh?
And even the honorary. I wonder if they'll actually do that. The honorary Oos.
You know,
I think, and this is a big one. I'm just going down on a limb. I think that Sami Zayn something's just telling me that Sami Zayn is still in cahoots with the Bloodline in some way.
I personally hope they don't. I really hope that this angle doesn't turn into one of them things, man, where it's like, oh, but another plot twist. I was acting the whole time. I'm like, no, dude. I mean, you got me to invest. Okay, you got me to, I work all the time. I'm tired. Then I go train. I work out because I'm a wrestler myself, right? And so when I sit down and have time to watch on my phone or my fancy little iPad or all that stuff and watch it, and you're investing me and I'm believing in the character work and you got me, just to say, oh, it was all a trick. I'm like, that is such a slap in the face, man. I was invested. You had me. Like, I feel cheated on now, right?
Those are the worst, though.
Did you even mean it, Sammy? Did you even mean it when you said it?
Exactly.
It's just, and you can't say it's good character work. Sometimes it's a lazy way out of things. I hate that.
Yeah, true too.
I'd like to see him and KO take those belts home. Give it to the Canadian boys. Shout out to the neighbors up north. El Generico and Kevin Steen, if you will.
Exactly.
I think it'd be cool to have them do a run. Obviously they're not going to let them go by Kevin Steen or anything like that, but like basically be Kevin Steen and Generico from the Indies, like kind of have that same energy. but as a tag team in WWE with their WWE names, kind of like, let them have their old school run together, because those, I hate to say it, I mean, I'm sure both those guys could wrestle as older men and work well, but you only got so many big bumps on your bump card. They're kind of bump cards getting punched at this point. They've been in WWE a while, long time in the Indies before that. Maybe they're letting them like, yeah, let's let them have a run as the boys, real quick. Let's let them do their thing while they still can.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'd like to see that. Me personally.
That's kind of the pickle me and you are in our indie scene, man. The Desperados, me and you, we have yet to officially tag together, but we've worked on some ideas together. We've fought against each other. We've trained with each other here and there. I mean, when it does happen, Desperados available for bookings, folks, as a tag team, if you will. We'll come take your belts. When's that gonna happen, dude? I mean, while I'm young, I'd hope.
Desperados is the year 2035.
Oh, yeah.
WWE, AEW tag champion.
Yeah, finally. If shoot, that'll be 12 years in the making. I mean, we'd have to go to. I mean, shoot, dude, I'm younger than you. I'd be fine, man. See, you'd be the old one. You'd be the one out there. All right, now look, guys. When he's in there ain't gonna be no running, shooting each other off the rope. That ain't happening. Okay, he's gonna be walking it.
We ain't doing none of that shit.
Good old Black Bart, Texas legend Black Bart from the Territory days and all that. A side note, keep him in your prayers, listeners. He has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That sucks, but I'm sure he's going to fight it as hard as he can. Great guy. I've met him a few times, talked to him backstage. He's a legend. And, he worked up until he was, real old and all that. He'd still get in there and do a little match, if you want to call it that. Man, really just Bart getting in there and just hitting them. But you try to shoot him off, and Dapper Dan told us that even when he was younger, though, you try to shoot him off, and he didn't. He just hooked that rope with his arms and be like, nope.
We ain't doing that shit.
We ain't doing all that stupid shit. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could see you being the slower of the two. But hey, I mean, that's what you got me for, all the flipping and flying, high diving, a little bit here and there. I ain't no big flyer, I like to keep my big ace on the floor. I'm a wrestler,
That's where I try to stay too.
You got to wrangle them, I will fly from the middle rope. In the time since I've done a podcast, last time I did one for until now was December 2022. I actually wrestled a guy in the UWE, one of our students that just recently graduated, Jack Strong, the Black Superman. Look him up on YouTube and Facebook. Guy's got a nice physique going, man. Guy's got a nice physique.
Great athlete.
Great athlete.
He's like what you think of a professional wrestler looks like, and it is.
Yeah, exactly. He's real green. He hadn't worked much, and he gets in his head a little bit. But man, he brought it to me. He hit me with some good stuff. He looked good doing it. I of course got the win. Jake Fury, one of my rivals, he likes to get involved with my business. But man, it was a great match. I won anyway, and actually you reffed that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a really good match to be, a part of. I got to see it. I had the best seat in the house. See.
Yeah, well, anyways, in that match, you'll probably recall, I went to the middle rope, did a little move I call the flying hay bale, a little flying back senton, kind of like Kevin Owens, I like KO. Didn't steal it, I just like it, And, man, I tell you, I missed it I didn't miss it, I hit him with it, but, it's one of those things, I don't do it often enough. What were you saying?
Yeah, you definitely hit him with it.
My freaking back went right across him as planned, but instead of like the upper back, where my head would land on him, It's the lower back. So my head smacked the mat. Everything kind of went blue and yellow for a while. I mean, if you look at the tape, I'm grinning like an idiot. I was,
Yeah.
I kind of forgot where I was for about 3 seconds. And then we came on back to earth. But, man, could you tell I was out as the ref? Could you?
On my Facebook, there's a great picture of you smiling out.
I know. I thank you for posting that, by the way. I appreciate that.
It was good. Good.
Could you tell I was out as the referee?
I seen you hit your head. I wasn't sure, but I knew for sure when you rolled out of the ring, and I was trying to communicate with you because this was a spot that was happening. But I kept my eye on you because I could see it in your face that you wasn't quite there. And that's why when I was counting, I was like, "You good?" And I wasn't just, to stop the count or waste time. It was, I was looking at you in your eyes. You looked like you wasn't there.
Yeah, well, I wasn't, but we came on back, and it's one of those things you really can't tell, and unless you were told, But I am proud of that match. It's also on YouTube. Cowboy Cliff Rogers, Jack Strong. Look for it now. But back to Mania. What's going on with the chicks, man? Refresh my memory, refresh the listeners' memory. What's some of the big women's matches on the card?
I don't know what all's been happening, but I know Damage Control is going up against Lita, Trish, and Becky Lynch. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Man, that'll be cool. That's kind of...
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Kind of has like shades of that time way back when. I think WrestleMania 25, it was Jericho versus Snuka, Steamboat, and Piper. So...
oh, yeah.
The older generation, the legends, now they're legends now, means we're really getting old, they're legends now, and they're making that Mania comeback, doing a big tag. It's kind of got vibes of that. That's going to be fun to watch, absolutely.
And it's going to be a good card. It's pretty loaded. I'm ready for the Hell in a Cell.
Oh yeah, I mean, how could we not talk about that, right?
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors, and it makes me even more excited.
Well, that's one of those things. I feel that angle's been going on a while. It's kind of like squatter, get off the pot here, guys. I think Edge and Finn, Judgment Day, I think it's all working together well. But it's like, man, this rivalry's been going on a minute. It's almost like WWE is kind of trying to do multiple long-term gigs. Of course, you got the beauty that is the bloodline. It started with just like Roman and Paul, and then Brock. You got the big two-timing drama, like almost soap opera like. Paul Heyman, is he loyal to Brock or Roman? Which is it? Then you got you got Jay. Then his brother comes back, and he ends up joining. And then now Solo, and then you got the honorary Uce, and it's evolved. I feel like they were trying to kind of capture something kind of like that with Edge and Finn, and keep it going. But I just feel like it's not quite sticking as well. But it's still a good story. I still like it. And Hell in a Cell is a beautiful way to end anything. So it's going to go down as a good feud. I mean, don't get me wrong. Or at least it will with me.
It's going to be a good, like I say, Bray Wyatt's not on the card. I heard that he was injured. That kind of worries me. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan, but it seems like they never know what to do with him. It's just like he does these little stories, and then they just stop. And all of a sudden, you don't see him for weeks. And
I had no idea you were a Bray Wyatt fan. Why don't you tell everybody what your finish is?
Okay, whatever. I stole Sister Abigail. I call it the gallows. Not as pretty as Bray Wyatt could do, but yeah, I stole it nonetheless.
Well, I mean, yours is more of a brute force version. His is a little faster. He has a bit of a snap to his. Yours is like, come here, you, bam, But it's not too slow. It's I think it works. There's not a whole lot of guys out there using that. But yeah, Bray, huge fan favorite, over the moon and back. So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he makes like maybe a surprise cameo, maybe a little Uncle Howdy action, if you will.
I love it.
It's so weird, but it's so good. All right. Oh man. Well, getting ready to wrap her up here, but before we do, let's talk about some upcoming indie shows around the South, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas area. Of course, we got New Hope Extreme Wrestling on April 8th. You want to tell the people about that one, Gate?
Yeah, man, Punk Sinister. We are in a very personal rivalry thus far. In that hardcore match you were talking about earlier, he involved my son in it, in which he loved it. He loved being a part of it. But it seems like Punk didn't want to stop there. Then he brought him up during the last Hope show. And now he challenged me to a submission match. So that's happening on the 8th.
I have a feeling that's going to be more of an I quit than anything. I mean, you guys are just going to be trying to mangle each other. I'm ready. I am ready. That's going to be cool.
I just really want to get in there and beat his ass. If anything else, do some good William Regal and try to wrestle him, but I don't think I'm worried about that.
I mean, you planted the dude's face smack into some thumbtacks, just bam. I mean, you don't do that to somebody you like. But, the whole thing with getting a little PF involved, man. He did great with his first little spot. They did a little spot where Punk Sinister tried to grab him, wrangle him, and he like caught his foot, and then I think he tried to kick him in the nether regions. I think that was a shoot. I don't think that was called.
Yeah.
It's always cool getting to see him light up and be a part of it.
So what are you doing on that show? I know you're on that one.
I believe I may be tagging with Devontae Adams, one half of the UWE tag champions. Over there, we were supposed to face each other. It turned into a tag match, kind of ECW style, just devolved into a tag match. And then, so I believe we're going to be in a triple threat tag. That is April 8th in Hope, Arkansas. It's the Easter show. There's going to be an egg hunt for the kids and all that. Variety. Yeah, we have more than just wrestling,
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Let me check the old news feed. I know that over there in Texas, man, they got some big things. I know that Texas All-Star Wrestling, look for them, TASW on Facebook. They've got a big show coming up. That's always a fun one, man. They got some luchas like Estrella Galactica. They've got some top talent in Texas like Ryan Davison, the best wrestler in Texas, many would say. That's always a really worth the price of admission, worth looking them up online. TASW, Texas All-Star Wrestling. Southern Championship Wrestling, also located in Arkansas. I believe they've got some stuff coming up in April as well. Look for them, SCW, on Facebook. Keith, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, just and keep an eye out for Dog Pound Championship Wrestling for Rodney Mack and Jazz's.
I mean,
Mark Barnett working a lot over there.
The Claw, it's back, brother.
Yep.
And then, of course, we can't go a show without mentioning UWE, United Wrestling Entertainment. Look us up on Facebook, guys. We got a show coming April 29th, 2023 in Columbia, Louisiana. That's going to be a big one. We've got 2 more lined up after that. We're coming back to Central Louisiana before we hit the road and go to Texas. That's going to be a fun one. April 29th, Columbia, Louisiana. So, all right, Keith. Well, I'm going to cut you loose, man. I don't want to burn up all your minutes.
Oh, shit.
Well, hey, brother, you're welcome back to the Barn Studio. Just about any time, I guess we'll say. Just about any time.
It's good to be back. I was ready for this podcast. We've been away way too long.
Yeah, we have. Well, folks, we're putting out the fire. Stick around if you want for the soothing sounds of some Western music. Like, comment, share, subscribe.